Every year this happens, and it affects you and me. New players come into the NFL, we call them rookies, and they're total unknowns to you until you dive deeper. And that's what we're here to do today. Dive deeper on these 5 rookies that your friends don't know about, but they have major upside in fantasy football. Let's start at the running back position. This running back is a top 5 running back in the draft, and your friends don't even know about it. And that's the prospect out of Pittsburgh and Israel Abanikanda, who, believe it or not, he closely compares to Jonathan Taylor. Now, he didn't take part in the NFL Combine, but he did his pro day, and it was dominant. So here's his workout metrics, and no need to get startled. All this is their bar graphs. The closer they are to 100, the better. And his burst is 97th percentile, as good as it gets. His speed, 93rd percentile. He ran a 4.3940, which just so happens to be the fastest 40 time in this class, even though he's not a small running back. He's not just 190 pounds. He's over 215 pounds running that fast. So he has the athleticism. He has that size. This means he could be a 3-down back pretty easily in the NFL. And this is something he already proved last year. In 2022 was the first year that he was the dude, the starter, getting all the reps out there in Pittsburgh. He had 239 rush attempts, goes for over 1,400 yards, leads all of college football with 21 total touchdowns, 20 on the ground, adds some receiving yards as well, and it totals up to him having 1,577 yards over 11 games, or 143 yards per game. Ultra productive. Quite simply, he has the rare combination of size, athleticism, and production. Not only does he have all those great combinations we said, he's also the youngest running back at 20 years old in this class. He's coming out after his junior year. Here's his athleticism right here, 98th percentile, 9.8. Look at these comparables. LaDainian Tomlinson, Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, Joseph Adai, who was also, if you don't know, he was a good running back in the NFL. This looks fantastic for the guy. So make a note on him, but then you also want to know about Jayden Reed. Now, Jayden Reed is a wide receiver prospect out of Michigan State, and he broke out at just 18 years old, top 2% of all time. And the breakout age matters because it correlates to future college success and then future NFL success, and that's exactly what happened for Mr. Reed. You see, when he broke out as a freshman, that was at Western Michigan, then he transferred for his final 3 seasons, 2020 to 2022, to Michigan State. And in Michigan State, he had his first major year in 2021. He goes over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns, but every single year, look at this right here, his target share, every single year he's commanding a 20% or higher target share. His average in college was about 25%, showing that he can get open and earn targets, which translates the most to the NFL. But that's not all, because Reed was also a special teams returner, and a productive one at that. And this shows his athleticism, his talent, and it gives him more ways to get on an NFL field, some versatility. And if we look at Matt Harmon's tweet here, who is a fantastic source for sourcing college wide receivers, the prospects, what they do in the NFL, how they get open. Look at this right here, 87th percentile, top 13% of all time at success rate versus press coverage, which is going to be something you need to do, beat press coverage, entering the NFL against bigger and faster cornerbacks. And Matt's takeaway is with just a few more tweaks to his game, he could become a legit starter in the NFL. And now his actual comparables from the NFL are guys like Stephon Diggs, a later round pick, similar size, speed, similar film, if you will, and Christian Kirk. Both these guys were not first round picks, second round picks, fifth round picks for Stephon Diggs, with a lot of upside. So make a note next to Jayden Reed for your upcoming drafts. He'll definitely be going later in best balls and season-long drafts. Now I want to focus on my favorite overall sleeper that we're going to talk about in this video, back to the running back position. And that'll be Evan Hull, the running back out of Northwest. I think he's the ultimate sleeper, and he's a top 5 athleticism running back in this class. And you can see for yourself right here, this number, the closer it is to 10, the better. He's at 9.3 out of 10, 93rd percentile athlete, which is just fantastic. And his comparables are pretty good. Tevin Coleman, you have Cam Akers on here. These are guys who have started and had successful seasons in the NFL, which is exactly what we're looking for a prospect moving up to the NFL, especially one that might go in round 5 or 6. Lots of upside. Now, his athleticism score was actually better than guys like Travis Etienne and Derrick Henry when they attended the NFL Combine. So that's something to stash away and remember. So Hull has the rare combination for a running back of speed, agility, and burst, but none of these are his best trait because the dude is an absolutely elite pass catcher. 17.3% of his team's targets he earned in college. That is top 3% of all time. That breaks down to 4.6 catches per game, not targets, receptions per game for Hull. And let's talk a little bit more now about his production. He was a starter for his final 2 years in college, where he played 12 games in each of those seasons. He basically averaged around 210 carries in these seasons. And if we were to add up all of his yards, his rushing yards about 1,900, his receiving yards about 800 over 2 seasons, very impressive. He was averaging 114 yards per game and 8 touchdowns per season. Oh yeah, not to mention 88 receptions over 2 years in college. That's 44 per season. Anything around 20 to 25 for a running back is good. 30 is elite. He was above 40 per season on average. So let's not forget about Evan Hull, who basically wherever wherever he ends up as a landing spot is going to be at the very worst getting on the field for some receiving abilities and can be a 3-down back. Next up is the wide receiver out of Nebraska and Trey Palmer. The 22-year-old is an absolute ultra producer. I'm talking a 46% college dominator. Now, what does that mean? It means he accounted for 46% of his team's college production on offense. Almost half of it to one wide receiver in terms of yardage, receptions, and total scoring. So that's obviously impressive. It's top 1% of all time for college production, but look at this. He ran a 4.33 40 time, which was the fastest amongst every single wide receiver at the combine. So you're getting this dude in Trey Palmer that not a lot of people are talking about, even though he's the fastest wide receiver in the draft and the most productive wide receiver in the draft. It's interesting. He's also 6 foot flat, 190, 293 pounds. This is exactly what you're looking for, the prototypical Jamar Chase build, especially with that speed. And who he compares out closely to is a man named Santana Moss. He's an NFL legend, played about 15 seasons. Now, this was a first-round pick out of Miami, a man who had plenty of 1,000-yard years in his career, a 1,500-yard year, except Trey Palmer is likely more dynamic and was more productive in college. So keep an eye on him in the NFL draft. If he goes anywhere between rounds 2 and 4, which I expect him to, he becomes a very fantasy viable upside wide receiver. Let's stick on the wide receivers and look at this guy out of SMU. He's about to be 23, a little bit of an older prospect, but nothing too crazy, and Rashee Rice. Now, Rice is coming off of his best year this past season where he had 96 catches, by far a career high by 30 receptions. He had over 1,300 yards, basically double his previous career high. And not only that, he ends up going out there and scoring 10 touchdowns. And he does this on a 31% target share. Now, overall in his career, he had a 33% target share. He was earning 1 out of 3 targets for SMU, which ranks top 2% of all time in terms of being able to get open. And like we said earlier, that translates to the NFL. Now, Rice isn't just productive. He's also athletic. This is out of 10, 9.52. So a 95th percentile athleticism score of all time. To basically make that look easy for you, he has above average speed and he has elite burst. As you can see right here, his highest bar, his burst, his ability to jump. He is a jump ball. They call him a 50-50 wide receiver, although he also has the ability to go after the catch. And I just love the confidence. This quote I saw, I've had it saved for a while. Perfect time to use it. Check this out. It's a 100-0 ball for me. I'm always making the contested catch. So instead of a 50-50 ball, he said 100-0 ball. That is confidence. That is swagger. I want to leave you with one more thing about Rice, who has the athleticism, the production, the size. We love all of these things. Now just give him the draft capital. And that one thing is he had 104 more targets than any other player on his team at SMU. That's how dominant he was at getting open. Even double teams were coming his way. They knew that he was getting the ball. Still productive. Those are 5 rookie sleepers that you want to jot down when your draft comes around, because look, your friends don't know about them and now you do, which is crucial. And if you want to ensure that you're going to have the best chance at winning your league this year, well, click the link down below in the description so you can get your copy of the Fantasy Blueprint. And it's completely risk-free. That's right. If you don't make your fantasy playoffs this year, I will refund that payment to you, so you might as well go ahead and get it down below. I appreciate you beautiful people tuning in. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you can ensure that you stay ahead of your friends and win your league this year.